Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rohit. I am the moderator for today's session. On behalf of NeuroRank and Pulp team, I would like to welcome you for the today's session on From AI Discovery to Demand, the new GTM Playbook for revenue attribution in the AI search era. Thank you for taking the time to join us. As AI-powered search platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Copilot increasingly influence how buyers discover brands, traditional SEO alone is no longer enough. Today's session will explore how organizations can measure their AI visibility, identify opportunities, and translate those into tangible business outcomes. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping points. This webinar is being recorded. Please use the chat option to ask your question anytime during the session. We'll address as many as questions possible during the Q&A at the end. If you'd like a personalized AI visibility audit for your brand, we will share the details before we wrap up. Now it's pleasure to introduce today's speaker. To take us through, we have Ambika Sharma, founder of NeuroRank Pulp Strategy. Ambika leads a team of strategists focused on helping brands build a stronger digital presence and transform their sales, marketing, and consumer engagement through the right use of technology. She has been the forefront of driving solution across the full spectrum, from strategy to development to implementation to measurement, all with a clear focus on delivering long-term value of brands. With deep expertise in MarTech and AI-led growth, she's been closely working on helping businesses understand and adopt to how AI is reshaping visibility and decision making. Today, she will walk us through a live demo of NeuroRank and show how to diagnose and fix AI invisibility across platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and Gemini. Over to you, Ambika.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and a very good afternoon. Today's session is particularly interesting because it answers. It's particularly interesting because it answers one of the core questions that I get asked almost in every conversation with marketers, which is how do I attribute? So I want to kind of focus on that for this session, and I'm quite sure that it will answer some of those questions, if not entirely. But please feel free to ask questions. We do these sessions once or twice a month, every time with a different topic. A lot of the clients and other brands as well as agencies join in, and you can drive value by putting up. If it's a related question, great, but it's any question around GEO that you have, please do feel free to kind of ask, and here goes. So great, some numbers to start with. B2B and B2C both, but let's start with B2B. 51% of B2B software buyers, sorry for that, software buyers actually start their research with AI and not with Google search. So AI B2B adoption was it was one of the first genres to kind of adopt B2B buying from, relying on AI. So that has become really big. By some estimates, if you were to look at Gartner, it says almost 93% of B2B buyers use AI at some point in their research and decision-making process. 1 in 3 have purchased from a vendor they have never heard of, but AI recommended that vendor, right? So the kudos to the organizations who are kind of making their way there. And one of the ways that people are treating attribution, and you may have seen it on some of the websites as well, particularly when you look at B2B websites, and if you're buying online, they ask you, where did you hear about us? So that is one of the ways that attribution is actually being driven as well, and that's one of the simplest things that you could possibly do. 693% growth in AI driven traffic to retail sites in the 2025 holiday seasons, which means the last holiday season, which ended in January. India and US are one of the largest markets, and now across all genres, triple digit growth in terms of AI driven traffic or AI driven customers coming to your product or services. Whether you're online or not, that doesn't really matter, because it's just as simple to go from an AI search into quick commerce or into a website or on Amazon. And in fact, AI engines actually throw up quick commerce links as well if they recommend a product. So the core would be to get mentioned and to get recommended, and then they kind of pick up the link for purchase service from multiple platforms, and platforms themselves are also optimizing for this. So that is great. These are the percentages of purchase or queries which are happening around purchase across these industries. These are the top industries, but of course, there are so many more. We never actually track everything together. And the shortlist itself is happening within AI. So this is something to kind of remember, because the funnel that you build on the website might not already be performing as per what you thought when you built that funnel, because a lot of consideration is happening within the AI chatbot. We have to remember that most AI chats are now mobile applications. You already know that at least India is a mobile first market, so is the US, but it's a mobile first market. And the answer engine, which is like a ChatGPT or a Gemini or a Claude, is in an app, right? So it's not like they can toggle between. They find something and then they move to another search. So they continue the conversation within the AI model, and that's something which I think you all or anybody who uses AI would very quickly relate to, because the usage pattern is almost 100% the same. People are not toggling between one screen to another, and it is a mobile driven market in terms of search. So if you were previously aware of, click, go to buying page, moment somebody comes to your website, you can use analytics or GA, and you can kind of trace the journey, and everybody was really proficient in doing that, and some organizations did that much better than others, but everybody had an idea. Now what happens in AI searches is not just one or two avenues, right? AI search moves through multiple avenues, because your entire marketing is now happening within AI. AI is actually marketing for you. And that's really great for some of the newer brands. And you might want to do like a very quick exercise. If you search for a skincare product or similar, which is really easy and high volume, you'll see that newer brands pop up more often, right? And they have more information and more compelling information than traditional brands which have been around, might have the largest market share. Sure. I mean, I'm not saying newer brands suddenly gain market share, but share in terms of voice on AI for newer brands a little bit higher. Okay. And maybe because they're like a little bit more technology savvy, more agile than larger brands. They built very recently, so the websites are updated, and lot of those things. But 12 avenues, so more wins for you. And this is like an important slide. It answers the question as to where all the customer enters into your funnel, and grouped by outcome. So just group this by outcome for ease of understanding. Win more, which is demand capture. So shortlist inclusion, tell me which sunscreen for oily skin. Okay. So if there are three options, mostly AI gives three options. So if there are three options, then if you're there, then that's where the funnel starts. Displacement defense. It should be a positive sentiment given by AI. So which means that if your brand or product, let's take the sunscreen example forward, gives a really great, no layering, easy, it's monsoon, so waterproof kind of effect and impact than if it says that cannot be displaced by a competitor who also says the same thing. So you hold your position there. Of course, new product discovery. So, especially in the fast moving categories in FMCG, in software, B2B software, SaaS, AI puts up a lot of new products. In fact, we actually onboarded a SaaS CRM, which was only recommended by AI, right? That they're not a company which we had heard of, and from HubSpot to traditional tools, we've kind of used all of them and opted for Zoho because they were Indian company upcoming, all of that. But for one of the solutions that we have, we opted for a newer platform because AI recommended it so nicely, and all the feature sets seemed like the ones which we wanted, and then we went straight to demo. So we didn't go through a lot of the comparison and pages on their website. So on their website, somebody like me would have seen, came straight to the demo page and clicked on set a demo. And to them it may seem like, though they're AI savvy as an organization and they're doing really well on AI visibility in their category, but to them it would have seemed like customers are coming straight to the demo page, not looking at anything else, but that's not really true. So, you know, that way. Second is convert better. Same example that I just gave. Accuracy qualifies. So every single user has a context window. This is very important to understand for all of us. Every user has a context window. I have a context window as a B2B marketer because, my Chat GPT and Gemini and Claude, all these windows, they understand completely where I'm at, okay? Because I'm writing emails, I'm checking reports, I'm asking for research, so they know exactly what I do for a living. So that is my context window. However, somebody else's context window might be completely different, right? So you're a gig worker, or you're a marketer for an FMCG brand. Your context window is totally different. Now, when I ask for a product, if that product is relevant for me, AI needs to know that that product is relevant for me according to my context. So look at it as AI creating very micro subcategories of consumers to be able to recommend products to them. So like when we used to advertise, or we still advertise on Meta, we go like subcategory, age group, then it narrows down interest, then narrows down further, maybe city, narrows down further, has recently visited. So that's a context window for Meta. We understand that. We also have to understand there's a context window for AI, and that context window you don't have access to. So that's why tools and platforms like NeuroRank exist, so that you know all of the contexts that exist on AI, and therefore calculate how your customers are actually searching. Decision stage context. So if I'm on a decision making stage, AI will recognize very quickly based on my questioning, because the big data analysis there is obviously much higher than just regular search. Immediately comes to the link, you can book a demo on their website, that kind of a recommendation comes. And that decision stage context understanding is really high with AI. I already talked about late funnel arrival, that somebody, let's say the CRM which we opted for, that CRM will see someone who has come directly to their website. We had been hunting for and kind of looking at different CRMs within AI windows for a while. Yeah, 10-15 days, and then finally we went and put in a demo with two, and the one which suited us the best we kind of closed in 24 hours. So their closure in their GA panel connected to their sales CRM would say customers are suddenly coming. Closure window has gone down from coming to website to buying, has gone down and crunched into 10 days. Earlier it used to be 40 days. It's not like that. The first 30 days are happening within AI, right? So that's the work which they put in AI, is kind of working as a salesperson for them, or working as a salesperson for the competition, depending upon how well optimized the AI is. Brand search lift. So you need to spend less if you're optimized for AI. And this is very clear. It's not the same mathematics I used to apply in SEO, because now this AI search works for both the PPC on Google, which is the query fan out, which you anybody who's run media in the last like 3 months is already aware of the query fan out. If you're not optimized for AI readability, your search starts asking you for more money. So paid search is not a problem you can solve by throwing money at it. So paid search and AI search, if you're not optimized, obviously you're not showing up there. So it's like double jeopardy. You have two issues which you need to be able to solve. But on the other hand, you get low dependency on paid because AI search is becoming so big. So at this point, a lot of AI engines mentioned that they'll start doing ads within AI, but nobody has really rolled out ads within the AI chat window majorly. Okay. You see a little bit here and there from Google, but there is no mass scale rollout yet. And they have their own reasons for it, and that's like a separate conversation. Content and PR efficiency, if you have invested well in content and PR, that's going to pay off majorly for you. And this is earned content, paid content, all of it, but not like paid ads, right? So AI ignores paid ads when it comes to trust. Of course, good content, efficient, truthful, honest, with clarity gets rewarded. But any paid articles and all that, anything that comes under advertisement doesn't get a whole lot of mileage. So again, working more on brand is actually going to help. Sorry for that. Working more on brand is actually going to help. Protection. This is very important. Litigation has entered the AI chat, so as to say, a lot of cases are happening around mis-selling, and we see this only growing. So, at least for regulated industries and for almost all of the BFSI and pharma brands that we have on the NeuroRank platform, the AI visibility numbers are a conversation which they have started having at the highest level. Some, at least in the BFSI space, are very clear that they have to report it to the board. It's not because the board wants to know how many clicks happened in AI, but because it is a governance issue. And as this becomes bigger and the litigation grows, more teams will get involved in this process. So that's one of it. Position and margin. If AI tells a customer and customers blindly believe I mean, there are more than enough examples of that which everybody is aware of. So I'm not going to go there. But the belief in AI recommendation, at least at this point, is very high, as high as 65%. The only thing that works better is if your friends and family recommend a product and you actually like them and listen to them. So then that works better. Otherwise, AI has high trust with consumers. It doesn't always tell the truth. It lies very, very often, but that's how it is right now from a consumer context. So position as well as margin. If AI tells you this is the best product in its category and it's great value for money, then it's already done half your job. Your salesperson doesn't have to push so much. Your advertising doesn't have to work as hard. So positioning and margin is also one of the layers of attribution. Citation mode. So if you work well on AI visibility, and I know that the click is just 1%, but and if your site repeatedly increasingly shows up in citations, right? From 5%, let's say you've grown to 50%, you will see an impact in terms of direct traffic. You will see an impact in terms of branded traffic, and you will see an impact in terms of AI agentic clicks that come to your website as well. And AI is really important for risk containment, AI visibility optimization, because there are multiple risks in terms of litigation, in terms of mis-selling, in terms of just sheer pissing off your consumer, right? They can say that, look, this product, I have no clarity. Every time I click, it gives me a model, then I go to the website and it says not available in India. I click, it says that, okay, there is like a free refund or a 30-day refund, I go to the website, it doesn't say. So now the consumer feels cheated, right? Because he's expecting something, and there are multiple of such cases as well. So risk containment is important in terms of how you train AI to kind of look at you. That is also. So all of these 12 areas is partly responsible for the attribution towards sale. And if you're able to win more, you're able to convert better. Of course, this presentation will be available once the team kind of uploads the recording. Feel free to deep dive more in this space. So this bit we have actually already been through, but I'm actually just going to move straight forward to how NeuroRank helps you kind of win over each level of this attribution. So we've divided that into three. There's visibility, there's recommendation, there's citation. These are the three KPIs to be able to track in AI search for each of your queries. Okay. I want to highlight visibility is not enough. It's not enough because it doesn't account for the follow-up question. It's very important. It's the top of the funnel. So you can't get to the bottom if you don't start with the top of the funnel. But there is always the context of what the consumer wants. And if you just work on the top layer and you don't know the consumer context which exists and how to be able to address them, you're going to fall out of that funnel really, really quickly, right? And then the consumer is not going to be in your funnel either. So what that really means, just to explain how visibility still doesn't get you revenue attribution is, let us say I'm a customer and I'm searching for the best CRMs for small businesses or best CRMs for SaaS businesses. Now I get the top three examples, one, two, three, out of which the third one is not well optimized and has not addressed all angles of the consumer query set. Okay, so one query set can have 8, 10, 12, 20 angles. You're already aware of that. It doesn't work on one USP anymore. Now, my next question is, but with CRM helps has AI assistance? Okay, they want the CRM to update on its own. I don't want to sit and update CRM because it never happens, and there are now sales teams have to do so many other things. Now, CRM number three gets out of the subset. Where is the problem? It does have automatic updation, but AI doesn't know. So either they didn't update properly their website, or the consumers weren't talking about it, or they didn't talk about the feature set, or their website was just badly done, or their competition is just doing better because it's a competitive environment. Now visibility doesn't help them because in my second question, they're out of the subset. So visibility is really great, but I think journey from visibility to AI actually recommending your product is the journey you need to be able to make. And yeah, all conversations that you see across LinkedIn, everybody kind of talks only about uh, visibility because that's like maybe the easiest to understand, top of funnel in conversation. But you have to be able to make the journey from visibility to recommendation. So what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve that after 16 minutes average, that's the time that a consumer spends finding a new product or a service or a clarity on a topic or information. That's the average 16 minutes plus in a chat window that nobody else can see and nobody else can actually enter. Like you can't have a website popping up inside the chat window. There are no ads. You don't go to like a Times of India website and you see three ads popping up and then you'll turn your head and go some other direction. All of that's not happening. It's one context window only, which is dominated by text. Links are almost invisible or ignored because only 1% people are clicking on links. So almost ignored. So that journey from visibility to AI actually recommending you 16 minutes, like 20 questions for each consumer window, which has a different context. I'm a B2B SaaS founder. Rohit's interest is in MarTech. Your interest might be completely, let's say, in makeup, in colors, right? So you're looking at a completely different audience there, and your context window might be completely different. It's a B2C FMCG kind of a context window, and mine is like completely B2B. The conversation which I am having with my AI chats are totally different. So it's very important, because what's going to happen is you only chase visibility. You're going to get see some really interesting numbers for visibility. You're not looking at recommendation and how to get there. And at the end of the year, you're sitting on a pile of questions that say, my revenue didn't increase, my traffic didn't increase, I don't know how many customers bought because of AI, and then you're at AI doesn't work for me. And then you've completed, like, it's going round in a cycle, and you've reached a place where all of your effort is a waste. So recommendation, very, very important. Citations, everybody, I'm sure knows about citations, but they're the little links that AI kind of recommends. Okay, and citations are a very interesting thing, and that algorithm nobody has cracked for sure. But 1 in 6 citations, the links, are ranked on Google. The other 5 are never ranked. So everything that you knew about going to high DA sites and making the backlinks and all of that's all out the window. It does not guarantee that your site is going to be cited, right? Your website link will appear there. It's not guaranteed. As it is, branded links are devalued unless you have a branded query. So branded query means you ask the query by name. What is color bar? So if you ask the query by name, then of course you'll get branded links. But if you just put an open query, I'm looking for the best moisturized lipstick for Indian skin tone. Now that's an unbranded query, a little specific, not very specific. But if your website is not showing up over there, and you don't have to have the keyword saying, moisturizer lipstick for Indian skin tone. It doesn't work like that. But if AI doesn't understand that you have that product that provides that value, it's not going to cite you. Not only do you need to establish the product, you also need to establish the value behind the product. Right. And then the query fan out thing. So, it should be Indian skin tone, it should be great for monsoon, it should be great for summer, it should be great for winter and all of that. You understand that any context that your customer searches in for that particular product, you should have the entire ecosystem which is ready and created, and there's a science behind that execution. That's not open-ended. So if you get there and you know what to be able to fix, this is like a problem that you can solve in like 30 days, right? So so these are the 3 levers that you need to track. Now, of course, I'm just going to kind of move to NeuroRank platform, because all of this can be explained in the platform itself. Give me okay, great. By the time that I share my screen, if anybody has a question,
Today, joined by so many engaged audience. So there is a question from Shailesh regarding protect in your slide. So how does one help an organization protect itself from negative sentiment or dated/incorrect information using AU or G?
okay, very, very good question. So you're obviously working on AI visibility. So just take a look at the dashboard, and your question has 2 parts in terms of protect. And you're right, the 2 things to protect from is misselling and which is hallucinations and incorrect information and everything that originates out of it. And the second is loss of revenue, right? These are the 2 things that you need to protect against from an AI search perspective. So to answer that, I want to actually take a example. Now, Google was sued in Germany, and that case verdict came in July of 2026. The German court found Google guilty um, of misrepresentation. Google AI guilty of misrepresentation. So what really happened was that there was a publishing house that was selling media, and when consumers asked that Google Gemini, that should I invest in media, this publishing house, do they give good results? And that case is available on the internet. Do Google it and get access to that case. But what that AI chatbot said was that this company is a fraud. They cheat customers. And if somebody from this company approaches you, here is how you can protect yourself from fraud, broadly. So this publisher took, they were monitoring, what AI chatbots are saying about them, and they must have their reasons. Of course, Europe is a far more, they started early as well. So they were monitoring and they took Google to court. Now, Google's first response was that somebody has posted this, which is why AI has picked this up. Which means if your consumers are crying, if you're, if somebody actually posted against the company saying this company is a fraud, AI has picked it up. But Google was unable to furnish any evidence of anybody having posted against that company saying that this publisher is a fraud. And it was found out that this is a AI hallucination. Now, hallucinations happen in almost 65% of the chats that AI does. 65% of the total chats. Total chats in India is like 40 billion. That's the number of chats that happen. Just chat GPT is like a billion a month or something, if I'm not wrong. So out of that, 65% of the chats have some mistake or the other. It's not 100% true. So this publisher was lucky. They found out, and they obviously took the company to court, and their business suffered and whatever else. So Google was found guilty. Now, this could actually be happening with your brand, not such a great level. This is a like an extreme case, but it could be giving incorrect pricing, incorrect feature set, not talking about a service properly. In fact, if you search about one of the best luxury brands globally for cars, uh, I'm not going to name the brand, but one of the top brands globally for cars, not mass production, like 10 crores a car. For India, it says service issues. And that may not be true, but it's there. So that is one part of protect, which is protecting against hallucinations. And second protect is, of course, see, if AI is not recommending your product and it's not following through the funnel and making sure that all the relevant customers believe that you're the best product for them, then you're not protecting against revenue loss, right? Because this is not going to change. If 40% of total search is has moved to AI, and this is just 2 years. In 2 years, in Google took 10 years to reach this place in terms of search, where 40% of the total global population would be searching on Google. In 2 years, the amount of growth which has happened, and it's going to grow. Next year, it might be 50, 60, 70%, 80%. You never know. So these are two types of protect. So that's a great question. I mean, thank you for kind of bringing that up. Any others? Otherwise, I can kind of start with. Great.
Go straight to the depth.
Great. So this is the NeuroRank dashboard. I've created a sandbox from one of the existing brands. The brand is Royal Enfield. I've particularly picked out the market UK because it's a little controllable and not a replica of the Indian market, very different for this particular brand, and also because you can see the growth actually in the dashboard. So this is the command center. This is basically for the leadership at the brand or the agency, whoever wants to get a one overview of what's happening and whether they are in the right direction or not. The first box is growth in terms of, and this speedometer is growth in terms of mentions. So visibility, which is the first thing, very basic. Second is growth in terms of recommendations. So the full funnel growth. So if you can see visibility and kind of mirroring the recommendation growth. Then the third is growth in terms of branded citations, your official website. Um, Not YouTube channel or anything like that. That's not what we are tracking. We're tracking official website citation growth. But of course, you'll get to see all citations across all the queries that you're tracking. You'll see all citations. This particularly only picks out this particular dashboard, tells you how much your branded citation has grown. So you know that the trust of AI on your website is increasing, and that's a whole lot of advantages. And the fourth odometer here that you see is actually the reduction in ORHL. Now, NeuroRank is patent filed, so we are, acceptably unique in all the spaces that we kind of provide a service for as far as the platform goes. ORHL is a patented taxonomy. O means omitted. So if you were omitted from an answer where you logically should have been there, you are the best face wash for oily skin, but you were not mentioned. Okay, so that's omitted. Replaced, you are the best face wash for oily skin during monsoons, but competition came up. You're the market leader, but competition. So you were replaced by competition unfairly, not fairly replaced, unfairly replaced. So it calculates that here. Hallucinated, anything which is incorrect. Okay, pricing, SKU, ingredients, results, availability, product name, everything. Anything which is not true is captured under hallucination. And zero leads means, let's say for FMCG, it hasn't gone down the full funnel to giving a Blinkit link saying go buy here, or an Amazon link saying go buy here. You get the idea. Or a commercial prompt on which you should have been there. Okay, I want to buy. How should I? And you are missing, either because you were eliminated in the beginning, or otherwise because you were not recommended by AI, but there's a commercial issue there. So you can identify those gaps and fix them, but it tells you how much your fixes have actually reduced those gaps. So that is there. You can look at a 6-month trend as well across all these parameters. You can track by model, and we cover 98% of the search AI search market at this point for India and for US. It includes ChatGPT, all models, Claude, all models, Gemini, including AI overviews, which is very large, and Perplexity because it's an AI search engine. So we cover that as well, and that's 98% of the total market share. So you're good to go. I do want to highlight, sometimes clients come and ask me, you don't cover Copilot, because Copilot is not an LLM engine. It is based on ChatGPT, and we are covering ChatGPT, right? So anything which is not an actual LLM engine, we haven't covered, because at this point the usage is not high enough, and it's not going to change anything in terms of results. But as in how new engines pick up market share, we will continue to add them. You can check by inclusion, sentiment, citation, hallucination across each of the products, and this updates itself automatically for you, because the platform updates like every couple of weeks, a month. Now we come to deep dive. So here is where the defense question that Salish had asked can actually come through. All of the queries that your consumer is asking AI across these models are captured here. What the platform does is, and for Royal Enfield, there are about 1,000 queries right now in this dashboard. What the platform does is similar queries, similar intention and context clubs together, so that you can work on queries together, and therefore you can cover more contexts in a single action. For example, if you were doing a press release based on this, or you were writing an article based on this, you can now cover all of these 10 instead of working on one at a time. So, it's not generated this cluster. The algorithm has put the cluster together, the platform algorithm, so that there is ease of use for you, and ease of use means like faster uh, action on your part. So there are multiple clusters you can, and they're by funnel: discovery, learning, problem solving, category, product, purchase intent. So you can kind of pick the clusters that you want to work on that month. And of course, second cluster you can work on next month. You can choose as many as you want. You can work on 100 clusters together if that's the bandwidth which your execution team has. No worries. You pick a cluster, sorry for that. You pick a cluster, you run analysis, it goes to live prompt intelligence, right? When you look at live prompt intelligence, it gives you share of voice and details by prompt. So again, this is UK. So if you don't see TVS or something, it's because it's not in the UK market. You can buy each of the models, see what your share of voice is and what is the share of voice that other top three competitors or top four competitors are taking. And NeuroRank benchmark is just the aggregated score. It will also tell you what links are cited, which models are citing them, how many times are they cited. Okay. So it'll give you the share of voice, the sentiment, the inclusion share here. So this is inclusion. And once you have kind of looked at this and you know what the challenges are, you go straight to the recommendation engine. Now, I think this is the most important part of the platform for brands, agencies, anybody who's serious about GEO. So, most important part of the engine is this. Why? Because it analyzes all of the 7, 8 thousand prompt runs that have happened, your competition, every single link, and then comes up and it has the best practices of GEO always updated within the algorithm. It gives you what exactly to do to improve your visibility and recommendation in that prompt. So I'm just going to take an example. This is vintage motorcycle exploration. It is a discovery prompt. It's a category prompt. There are 24 recommendations, and the brand was working on this, so I'm not going to mess around with it. But if you see website, and it has specifically given inputs, schema markup inconsistently applied. um, Several key prompts return generic landing pages rather than purpose-built answers. So the content is behind. Product specification pages lag behind current market positioning. So the content is not well positioned, right? This is the website, and it has given exact recommendations, dedicated landing page, FAQ and product types, product specification pages with current technical details, pricing. So there must be some out of date pages which AI is reading, or new page might not be there or something like that. And it gives you the links as well. So you can look at the links and kind of go to that link. Give an exact thing on Wikipedia and see if somebody is saying something negative about you. Salesh asked that question. So look at the recommendation here. Okay. Um, Wikipedia entry you should complete. That's a very generic response, but update model specific articles with current specifications and reference of recent press coverages. So new models are not updated on Wikipedia. Standardized product naming convention. So this is a very big flaw. So I know the client, so I can tell you some places the product was not correctly mentioned. Okay, so for example, if my name is Ambika Sharma, somewhere I write Ambika, somewhere I write A Sharma, somewhere I write A dot Sharma. This is not consistency. How will AI know that I am one person and there are not four different people, right? And then, of course, you can't find for other three people, you can't find a LinkedIn profile and all that. So that's the kind of a confusion, which I think is corrected now, but that's what was happening. This is a retail product, Google Business and Google Business Maps for dealers, really important. And it's uh, freely available optimization area, which definitely should be done, but was not done. So incomplete business provide profiles for dealership locations, missing outdating operating hours and contact information, limited product photos and showroom imagery, blah, blah, right? Then if you look at the other card, there's YouTube, inconsistencies and comparison content is missing. So there are some trust markers which are missing here. Reddit, there are several negative sentiment threads that contain factual inaccuracies and have gone unaddressed. So the question which said, will it find a negative sentiment or a negative post against us? Yes, it is not a listening software, but if there is a negative content piece which is impacting your AI visibility to a substantial extent, it will pull that negative content up or at least give you a heads up that this is happening, right? Motorcycle forums as well, regional forum communities have engagement levels, but UK community does not, maybe because the brand is a little bit newer there, possibly. Sparse brand related gaps, and then, exact updates. What should you do? Okay, this is the problem. Everybody understands that. What are the three, four things that you should go do? So it's giving you all of those options across all of the top areas. Now, once you fix this, just want to have like a side conversation that there is a checker and maker panel for your execution teams so that you can put the execution teams can make corrections. This entire recommendation list comes like a list. They can update the URL. Somebody, if they need to approve it, can approve it from there. It's important to maintain governance because tomorrow you might need to change something, and it you can't just stop optimizing that link, right? It's going to be indexed and it's going to be around forever. So at least for owned links, you need to make a change. So they are governed there. Second thing that happens is now you entered the links, you can go into RAG conditioning. RAG conditioning means that we show the models the new content. We allow them or trigger them to remember that content faster. It doesn't, it's not an assurance that the model will remember it, but it speeds up the process of a model remembering things. And the refresh rate for models are very different. Gemini is like 48 hours, Claude is 9 to 12 months. ChatGPT is 6 to 12 months. So while your and their search engines work fine because ChatGPT uses Bing. So if you search by brand name, you'll get that. But a recommendation or a unbranded query or a category query, which motorcycle should I buy query, that needs to have memory behind it, so it accelerates that memory. And typically if you just follow the recommendations and your team implements them decently well, you will start to see after RAG conditioning, you'll start to see growth in anything between 60 days upwards, right? Thoda you'll see the improvement in those prompt queries. Now, this is, getting things done. Now is to actually look at what's working for you and what's not working for you. And see, there is some consumer complaint here which is not addressed. But this is the citation tracker. There are two trackers that we have. Citation is separate because the volume is so high. You know how many citations, and this continues to keep getting updated, right? So this will update itself as and how you use the platform. What is the growth? What is the actual number of citations across models? What is the growth? What is the split of the citations? How much is competition? And it says so here, how much is branded? How many are common, like a Times of India or a bike magazine or whatever? How much is social? And if there is any negative information, it will kind of pull that out as well. Only if the negative information is impacting your AI visibility, right? So it's not a search software. It's not a listening platform like a Meltwater or something. It doesn't pull out those details. So it has a very specific use case, which is for AI visibility. It tells you all of the citations, which links are growing, and this is in ascending order. So which links are growing, which are the top cited links there in terms of queries, and which links have negative information. So it has only pulled out one link, which is like a consumer complaint link, or two links, which is a consumer complaint thing, and it has kind of mentioned that. So this is the citation tracker. It works by prompt and all of the URLs. And then you can actually track your visibility and your recommendation as well. So if you look at the platform, it identifies what people are saying, it diagnoses where the problem is, it prescribes all of the actions that you need to take, which you have to take manually. No platform can do this automatically, right? Any trusted source is not going to allow auto posting. Then it conditions your content and prompts so that there is acceleration in memory for all the four models that we address, and then it helps you track it. So it's your entire governance from start to finish, and it makes GEO action really easy. You don't have to kind of flop around in the dark or do any trial and error. Nobody has unlimited retainers with their agency or unlimited people in their team. So you can focus their energies in the right place. And then, of course, more the merrier. You can do other things as well. But these are the absolute must-haves. And it tracks growth by mentions and recommendations by query, month on month. So the orange that you see here is the baseline where they started out with, and then a 13-point growth here in recommendations and 11-point growth. So there are different growth parameters and for each prompt, and this has spent some time, so the growth is showing up pretty obviously. It gives you lots of insights here, which you can also get by just reading the dashboard, but does highlight what's going well and what's not, and where you are behind. Service network reliability, beginner adventure motorcycle, best Royal Enfield 650. So this is a branded prompt, but it's still falling means that the query level is falling. And you can also see ORHL reduction. So any false narratives that were being built up by which you are losing revenue, those narratives are going down after the work which you put in, based on what the platform actually tells you. So for all prompts, you should be able to do this. And of course, this is a common area here. So that is what NeuroRank does. I'm going to go back to the command center. If there are any questions, I will be happy to take them.
One of the logic made question is around how is this platform getting this information?
Very good question. How is the platform getting the information? Okay. So there are, of course, there is an algorithm and techniques which are built into the platform, but the information itself comes from the data that the platform gets, right? So it has a swarm of agents that act as the consumer, and they start with the category like unaided recall, then aided recall, all of the answers. So by the time you get to tracking, every prompt has been asked, every query has been asked 6 to 7,000 times. Okay. So those 6 to 7,000 answers are in a database. Then there is big data analysis where all of this information is taken based on that analysis and then provided to you. So a lot of it is big data analysis. What the platform does very well is that the algorithm itself within the platform is trained on what are the best practices for GEO. And the basis of the research actually comes from real answers. We use fresh token methodology and then a swarm of agents which use VPN and location to be able to go across the country. So these answers would come from different cities. It typically goes top down, so metros, mini metros, larger cities, so top down, and those agents kind of use a VPN or hunting IP. I mean, if you're aware of what that is, and then ask those queries. We use enterprise APIs from all of the four models that we're talking about. And using a cross mix of those enterprise APIs, we get the information, it goes into a database, and then the algorithm runs to kind of provide the information to you. I hope that makes sense.
About, I think this is related to licensing. You say that both Grok and ChatGPT engine takes over 8 months to read and update, but the team, their experience is they have managed to rank brands on these within 2 to 3 months.
Yes, absolutely. Um, Firstly, the refresh rate will not start from the day that you start working, right? And uh, no engine refreshes on a Well, it will not refresh the entire internet at one go. Okay, so packets of information, and this information is available on the website of the models as well. So it refreshes in packets of information. So there's packet one. I don't know whether a brand is in packet one or packet two, that only, let's say, a Claude knows. And has that it refreshes that information, it updates that information from whatever sources that it needs to move to packet 2. So the refresh rate is by pocket. I'm simplifying, it's by pocket. Nobody refreshes, no model will refresh everything together, right? So if it has a million gigabytes of data, it's not going to suddenly get up one day and refresh. So it refreshes in batches. That is one. The second is some important information is also available within models by search. So I'll give you an example. ChatGPT works on Bing. Whenever you ask for something which is current in nature, it does not use its memory, it first uses search. When you're asking a question which is algorithmic in nature, it will go into the model memory. So it is true, and that's exactly what we were also saying from a platform perspective, that within 60 days plus, you'll start to see improvement. I would not use the word ranking for AI searches because there is no rank. There is no platform that tells you you ranked on number one. Yes, that is really great if inclusion has started, and if there is lesser competition and well done context, then definitely you'll start, the brand will start appearing in those searches faster than like a generic query, right? So it's actually a job well done. My compliments, but that's how refresh rates actually work.
There is question from Omkar. I work in a small strategic consulting firm, and I am the only one person who works on digital marketing with a few people as support. What would be the good starting point to create an integrated SEO AI search plan for, let's say, for the next 6 months?
Very good question. And a lot of brands have fewer people as well, right? So I'll always obviously go by the platform and a tried and tested method on the platform. You start a subscription, you pull out your keywords, kind of put them in one single Excel, find out which are the keywords you really want to track in terms of SEO. You also start picking up your prompts, right? So you pick up one prompt, just do one prompt cluster in a month. You pick up a prompt cluster on the first of the month. You see the context, you see your key SEO keywords, you write singular pieces of content. Okay, so if you're updating a, let's say, product page, for example, then you put in your SEO keywords, but write the structure of the product page on the website as per GEO requirements. So your on-page SEO will be covered there and you don't have to duplicate. Once you have done that, go to the recommendation set, cover all the recommendations which are being given. Now, I'm not aware of what products or services you are doing, but consulting is mostly B2B, right? So it's safe to assume that your customers are searching via chat answer engines. So AI is your primary go-to, not search, because any marketer today is not hunting on Google search for anything. B2B has almost given up on search, right? So AI is your primary, but you must have SEO as well. So you add your SEO keywords within that. Put 80% of your effort on AI search, including everything like your Reddit. These will be your lead magnets. Within 70, 80 days, you'll start to see direct traffic going up. The key will be you pick up the queries which are most important, your best service, your highest revenue impact service, start with there. I'm not really sure about what this question means. Does AEO, GEO work better on B2C or B2B? See, B2B is an absolute must have. And B2C, I will say, depends on your product, right? Now, let me take an example for that. If you are selling tractors, it's and in India, it's a very safe bet to assume that today the farmer is not asking ChatGPT which tractor to buy. So, of course, for that product, SEO and YouTube probably optimization is your best bet, right? But in B2C, if you are selling a skin brightening serum, everybody is asking on AI. So nobody's searching for skin brightening serum. And if you search for this query, most likely even Google is going to bump you up to Gemini for AI queries, right? So I think it depends on the product, but and the percentage of your effort will definitely depend on which product. If you're in B2C, on B2B, you have no choice, but depends on your product.
Even on the B2C, there is experience, right? Like in YouTube, there for the mobile buying experience, mobiles under 15K.
Yeah,
Videos
yeah,
used to
correct,
come.
correct, correct.
Now the creators are not creating that type of videos.
No, because now Gemini is answering those
Yes.
questions for
Yeah.
everybody. Correct, correct. I agree.
Yeah. About on the execution part, like if they have the current agency, do they need to change or like how this works? Like is
No,
the
yeah, I will never recommend recommend changing your agency because your agency always already understands you really well, right? So because there is some new genre, you change an agency, and that I wouldn't recommend it unless you have other problems with the agency, in which case it's not my place to say. But the best way to kind of look at this would be uh, all okay. So everybody on all the multiple brands on NeuroRank, what they're doing, whether they're internal or externally managed by an agency, they look at the platform for intelligence and they look towards their agency for better implementation of that intelligence, right? Um, that would be the best way. But I think work with your current team, right? Because technology changes continue to happen. If you keep dropping people because technology changed, and if they're willing to work for it, then it's the best. I mean, work with them, grow with them, maintain the governance on your part. You'll have all the links, you know exactly what is working. Immediately you will understand whether it's going in the right direction or not, and then fine tune because it's a new genre, and a lot of experimentation is not working in this space. So if you have the intelligence, you don't need a fresh team. So actually, there's an agency query, both products and services. We'd love to. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I will set up that demo and the sandbox, and we'll figure out a way to be able to, onboard your team and clients onto NeuroRank. And we have a very small but a strong agency program, and we can definitely talk about it there. In like a separate conversation. You actually have the email which you would have received the link from as well. Otherwise, I'm
I
just
have shared the
link
contact
also.
us, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
directly from meeting link invitation.
Great, great. That sounds perfect. Great. I have more questions coming up.
So about the platform, uh, it's like an quarterly plan we have, a yearly plan we have, and if anyone wants to do a basic audit, so is there an option?
Right. So the two parts to this question. One, how does the subscription model work? So the subscription model works per website, per country, for a certain set of prompt clusters. So let's say if you are, I'll just take a random example. If you're color bar, and you are at hypothetically colorbar.com and you want to check India, so colorbar.com India one prompt cluster, which means 8 to 10 prompts a month. And next month, you can do like a fresh 8 to 10 prompts. Uh, this subscription for all four platforms starts at $350 a month, month on month. And then if you add another prompt cluster, it will kind of compound that, right? So it'll increase by a bit. And the reason is that I mean, AI tokens are real, particularly from a recommendation and analysis space. It's huge amount of work that the platform actually does to rank condition and give recommendations. And also everything that we do is at scale, right? So we don't run three prompts and then come back and say, here is your intelligence and visibility. It starts at 1,000 prompt runs. So 1,000, 2,000, it works like that. So it's at scale because we are both our markets are very, very large, US and India, and just two or three prompt runs don't actually give a good context. So you get data which has that high base there as well. So that is, that's how the platform actually works. If you are a brand or you are an agency pitching to a brand, we have a smaller product which is there on the website, and Rohit just put it in chat as well. That is called the live forensic audit. It's not the full platform, but it does give you a benchmarking against competition, a generic view of AI visibility, runs a few prompts to tell you what kind of recommendations, 4 or 5 prompts. So it's like the very crisp version of the full platform, but in a little bucket. Mostly we see that agencies who want to pitch to their clients are using this. And we have agencies who've taken like dozens and dozens of audits. And there are also brands who want to make an internal assessment, right? Whether should I do, uh, should I work on AI visibility, or what will I tell my CMO or the CEO? Why should I work on AI visibility? So it gives you a ready-made presentation. It has really great insights, good looking dashboards. Just download the presentation, put in a few screenshots, and the entire pitch, internal or external, is ready. So you could get a good view there. And we've priced it at about the cost of a coffee. The reason being that the objective is not to make money off of this, but is to provide high quality, deep dive assessment for anybody who needs an assessment. And it has 10 intelligence layers. It also has a Q&A area where you can talk to your data and ask follow-up questions. So, and that's in the MPE also. You can ask follow-up questions and it talks to the data and gives you that information. So, definitely. Any any more questions there?
Yeah, we are like already ahead of the time.
Over time, yes. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. And I see someone's typing a question. I will definitely address that. But thank you so much for your time. For the agency team there, absolutely reach out to me. And I see that some folks I know for a very long time are also here. I'm glad you find the session productive. And yes, I do have your number and I am going to reach out to you. And I'm giving a shout out to the agency team. Please do reach out to me. Let's see what we can figure out for you as well. And if any of you have any questions, if you're stuck in your GEO, I mean, whether you do business with me or not, but if there's a query that I can solve for you, I'll be happy to do that. Please do reach out to me in whichever method that you feel comfortable. And thank you so much. Really happy that all of you could join, and I hope to see some of you in the next session as well. Bye bye. Please take care. And we will make the recording available sometime tomorrow, and you can watch out for it in your email and look at it. Okay.
Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.